Hello, Dr. Jeff Johnston here out of Denver. I'd like to tell you a little bit about the Cerec and what is the Cerec machine. I'm here today with the Cerec machine. We're going to go through the process of what is the Cerec, and hopefully you'll have a better understanding of how it can benefit you. So Cerec is basically a CAD/CAM system for dentistry. It allows us to design fillings, crowns, veneers, sometimes bridges, all on the computer, and then we mill it out of a porcelain block, and then you have a crown. Usually takes about 90 minutes. Let's go into traditionally how a crown is made, for example, and then we'll show you the advantages over the Cerec. So if you got a crown made, you'd come in, have the tooth prepared. Say if you broke a tooth, you need to get a crown made. You'd have the tooth prepared. We would take a impression of that preparation, put you in a temporary lasts about 2 to 3 weeks, while the crown gets sent off to a dental lab to get fabricated. The dental lab pours it up in stone and makes the crown on the stone model. The problem with that is 4 to 6% of crowns need to be remade. So a lot of micro errors can occur during the whole lab process. With Cerec, it takes away all those errors. So with Cerec, you would come in, you would have the tooth prepared, have the tooth scanned by our 3D scanner on the machine. We would fabricate the crown on the machine and mill it in the milling unit out of a block of porcelain. Now, what are the advantages of Cerec over a traditional crown? Well, with Cerec, number one, it's a one-visit crown. 90 minutes, you're in and out the door. You don't have a temporary. The temporary is not going to fall off. Temporaries have been really frustrating on our side of dentistry as well. You don't want to glue them too tight. You don't want to glue them too loose. So with Cerec, you can one-visit crowns, one-visit porcelain inlays and onlays, veneers, all that stuff we can do in one visit now. We also have materials that are just amazingly strong and compare to gold, which is traditionally the gold standard in our industry. We can also custom stain and glaze and color match right here in the office, versus traditionally you'd have to go to a dental lab to have that done. So let's walk through some of the advantages. We'll jump on the machine and I'll show you how it works, and we'll go from there. Then we'll go on to the milling unit, and that way you can have a thorough understanding of how the Cerec works. Cerec's been around for about 25 years. It's a company called Cerona from Germany. Until the last 5-10 years, the software's gotten better, the scanning's gotten better, milling's gotten faster, and it's a very easy way to do things now. I've had this for about 1.5 years, and it just changed how I do dentistry, and for the much better, I tell you. When you scan a tooth, it's much more accurate than taking an impression of the tooth, and everything's done right here. If you don't want a porcelain crown or a tooth-colored crown, we can email it to the dental lab, and they can have a more accurate scan and work off that instead of an impression. So let's jump on the machine and see what we can do. Thanks. Okay, so we're looking right now at a screenshot of the Cerec software. Up in this corner, we have the prepared tooth structure. So that's the prepared tooth structure. In this section we have the bite. In this section we have the lower section to match with the bite. So what we do next is the software will calculate the model, and what it's doing is stitching all the images together. So you take, 3 to 5 images. This camera here is a 3D camera, so you just take one shot and it's a 3D. So once it calculates the model, it's going to want us to put both of the models together. So this is how we set the bite for your crown. So we'll go up here and we'll set the bite, and it'll stitch the bite together. Now we have how you bite your teeth together. We show the room here for the crown being made. So the next step we move on to doing some marginations and things of that nature. So once we get to the margination step, you see your bite there. This shows you your bite. So we'll go around and we'll marginate the tooth. A margin is basically where the crown meets the tooth, and that's how it knows that where the crown stops at the tooth. So once we have the margination step, then we kind of line up the tooth to the proper orientation. Now the machine is actually fabricating this tooth. It's taking this side and this side and using a lot of calculations and algorithms to make this tooth. Another thing we can do with this machine is we could take a picture before we prep the tooth and copy the exact tooth on the picture. So it's calculated our tooth here, and it gives us a lot of things here. We can see how the bite is and see where the bite's coming down. These colors show us strengths of how hard it's biting down, and different colors mean different things. We can also look at the bite and see how the tooth is coming together. So, and then that's how it is. We can play around with this as much or as little as we need to, and definitely get a custom made crown for you that matches your bite. And we can also see how tight it fits between the teeth. These colors represent how tight it is between the teeth. And once we get to that step, and we like how the tooth is designed, we send this off to the milling unit and it's gonna mill us this crown. And we can do this for fillings, veneers, front tooth crowns. We can do it for some temporary bridges, implants. It has a lot of applications. So we can also visualize how this crown is going to fit in the block. Different blocks of porcelain have different colors, and sometimes the blocks are stacked with colors. So this will show us exactly how that crown fits in. And if it's a multi-layered colored block, we can move this crown around so we can get the right color contrast. This is very neat stuff. I can't imagine practicing without it. And it's something I feel like every dentist is going to have in 5 or 7 years, and we'll all be able to have our crowns made right in the office. Very good stuff. Next, we'll go onto the milling unit, and we'll watch it mill for a little while and see how it comes out. Thanks. So here's our milling unit, and here's our block of porcelain, just made out of a porcelain block. We're going to go ahead and load that into the milling unit here, and once we get that set into the milling unit, then it'll be ready to mill. So shut the door, and it's gonna mill out exactly what we designed. So after it gets done milling, then we come over here and we put it in our furnace oven, and we can custom stain and glaze. We have all these colors, and we can custom stain and glaze and make a beautiful looking crown. So it's just calculating here. Looks like this crown's going to take about 8 minutes to mill, and it's just preparing to mill right now. And you can sit here and watch it when it starts up. So we can watch this mill for just a second, and you can see it's got self-contained water, and it's basically just milling that crown out of that porcelain block there. Okay, so our milling is done now, and then here is our dental crown. Just like we designed. We will go fit this in the mouth, and we can custom stain it, glaze it, or if it doesn't need anything, we cement it.